that concludes the launch of this program. We appreciate the media and so many of our partners that came out to announce this. We're going to build this. It's going to be efficient. It's going to be effective because recovery coaches that are out there have put their trust in our firefighters and our police officers to make sure that the proper resources are there and available to break that addiction, knowing full well it's a real difficult grip to break, but we are committed to helping in any way we can. I'll open it up for any questions that you may have. Otherwise, thank you for covering this.
Commissioner, can you explain, before this program starts on January 2nd, what happens now if someone goes into a fire department? Do you take an engine out of service and take them to the ER?
Yeah, so our firefighters will take somebody that knocks on the door either now or 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll be prepared. This is a soft launch. We'll be even more prepared come January. So if somebody comes today or tonight, we'll be prepared to hook them into the services, and we'll walk through our policy and connect them to the services they need.
Commissioner, have people come in the past?
Before you move on, I think one clear distinction, or one thing to make clear, is that if someone comes in and is experiencing an overdose, or is high on drugs or alcohol, there are services that kick in. But what we've found, and the research shows, that in those situations, those aren't the most effective times to provide intervention services. These are spaces for folks who, the light goes off, or they're looking for help. There's a place where they can go, where they can be connected with us. And of course, we'll take anyone, as Captain Kenyon mentioned, anytime, anywhere. But to be clear, we want to make sure that we're here and present for folks when an intervention can be effective, and that's what we're gearing up for. But if someone walks in and they need immediate, urgent care, these guys are when they're ready.
What's happened up until this point? Say, I guess one of the questions I have is the need, aside from just the epidemic itself. Have you guys experienced people coming to your doors at all hours of the night before and realize, hey, maybe we should have something in place? Or has that ever happened?
We get knocks on these doors at all times, and we treat them as an emergency situation. So our firefighters, if they are overdosing, will administer whatever medication that they would on the streets. So nothing has changed in the emergency care. If someone is in an emergency medical condition, we are going to transport to the emergency department of a hospital. What this does is, if somebody is prepared to deal with their addiction, there's a place where you can come and get hooked into those services. So for instance, if you're ready to do that, we will still take your vital signs. We'll make sure that you're not under an emergency medical condition. If you are, we transport to the hospital. If you are not, then the program kicks in. We'll call recovery coaches, we'll call resources. So within a short period of time, you can get hooked into what we've found across this country works best with people that struggle with addiction.
Logistically, does this change anything in terms of staffing? Like, say you've got a full engine staff ready to go to a fire. Does that mean it's 2 or 3 men or women that have to stay here on site totally, or is that something that's already built into your
It's
staff?
already built in. So we'll take that engine, if it's an engine, maybe there's a rescue in quarters, and they'll be taken out of service and dealing with this particular person. And then once it's cleared, they'll go back in service. So nothing has changed with the complement. Look, we're just doing it here at a station when somebody is ready to come and ask for help.
Is there a cost associated with this?
There's no cost to the city. Of course, there's cost for providing those services, in which the state and federal government has dedicated some resources. But nothing has changed from Providence's end, other than launching this, telling folks that, look, there's a better way to deal with your addiction. If you'd like to come in and get connected, 24/7 is the key. This doesn't happen at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That light bulb goes on with somebody wanting to change their life, perhaps at 2 in the morning, and they shouldn't wait until 8 when that may change.
And on the issue of costs, know, it's been called the most expensive cab ride and then the most expensive hotel stay in the state, which is when you get picked up by the EMS and taken to the emergency room. And so unquestionably, if we can connect people with treatment and with services and prevent the overdoses in those emergency situations, this is going to save a lot of money. And again, as Captain Kenyon mentioned, you know, regardless of the money that's going to be saved, this is also going to save lives.
Does someone walk us through the state and federal grant money
I will leave Mr. O'Brien to talk about the grant that they applied to the University of Baltimore that is paying for a portion of this. The other portion of that is through the state targeted response grant, which came out last year, and we can change the scope of work with the permission with the federal government. With the federal government. So we contacted them, and they have moved in record time, I have to say, to make this. We're still waiting for the actual purchase order, which is one of the reasons why January 2nd is the date. But I can say that everyone in government has moved quickly, federal and state.
Do we know roughly how much money is going to be there?
It will probably, I don't know if I can give the exact amount, but I would say by the time we have all 12 stations and the things that we need to do with medication-assisted treatment and the process, I would say anywhere between 200,000.
And who provides the rides? Sorry, you're gonna explain that first.
Hi, so the Providence Center applied for a grant through the University of Baltimore. They have the monies from the Office of National Drug Policy, and so we received a grant for about $135,000 to also help with these costs to have 24/7 staff. In regard to the ride, is that we are asking, so the recovery coaches will come out in pairs, meet with the client or person here in the fire station, and take them to, depending on the time of day, to a certain location to have them seen and determine where the best place is for them to get treatment.
Any other questions? Otherwise, thank you all for covering this.